Hey, everybody, welcome back to the WorkHappy podcast, where I have the pleasure of speaking with Mike Michalowicz, an accomplished author, speaker, and business coach. Mike is the author of several best-selling books, including Profit First, The Pumpkin Plan, and Clockwork. You can find all these books on a tiny bookstore called Amazon. As a business speaker, Mike is presented to audiences around the world, sharing his expertise on entrepreneurship, profitability, and small business management. He is also the founder of the Profit First Professionals organization, which trains accountants, bookkeepers, coaches, and helps entrepreneurs implement the Profit First cash management system. So sit back, relax, and get ready to learn from one of the most knowledgeable and engaging business coaches I know in the industry. Welcome, Mike. How are you?
Good, man. Let's do this, Greg.
I know. This is exciting, man. Tell our listeners a little bit about Profit First. I obviously want to give you kudos later on, but
For sure.
how you got to where you are now as an author and a speaker, and how you WorkHappy.
Yeah. I definitely work happy. The background is I am an entrepreneur. I've always been an entrepreneur ever since college, and wasn't necessarily a good entrepreneur, meaning I had some successes, but fundamentally didn't realize I didn't know how to run a profitable business. I didn't know how to manage my time. I was a workaholic and thought that was the right way to grow a business. I had a epiphany. That's when I lost everything. I started a third company. The other two I had the good fortune of selling. Started a third company thinking I was a know-it-all. I knew everything. And I would start 10 businesses within this company. I was an angel investor. And all those businesses failed. Most of them within 6 months. One kind of stuck around for a while. And I lost all of the money I'd made up to that point, all the savings I had, lost my house, lost everything, and had to start over. I had 3 children at the time. I still have 3 kids, and my wife and I came home to, I still have 3 children, no additions. And I came home and told them we were going to lose everything. And it wasn't in this kind of context. I was sobbing. I was so ashamed and embarrassed. Yeah. And my daughter felt compelled to save me by running to her room. She grabbed her piggy bank and ran back. And she said, "Daddy, since you can't provide for our family, I'll be the provider." And just, I feel the chills right now, actually. Yeah. It was such a devastating moment, but for me, it was such a awakening that I really didn't understand how to be profitable. I didn't understand how to run efficiently or any of this stuff. So I endeavored, not from that moment. It wasn't like the next morning I woke up and said, I'm going to start working on this. It took me, I went through depression, but in reflection on that moment, I'm like, oh, this is what I need to do on this planet. I got to figure out how to make entrepreneurship more accessible, easier, selfishly for myself, but also anyone that I have the blessing to come in contact with to serve them. So that's when I became an author. That was 15 years ago that happened. Till I take the final breath on this planet, I anticipate I'll be an author the entire way, trying to figure out how to make entrepreneurship an easier journey.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I really appreciate you sharing it. It's a touching moment when, kids come to us and they have no idea how much a mortgage is, but here's my piggy bank, right? Like you said.
You know what's interesting though? Yeah, she was 9 years old at the time, Greg. That was her life savings. She was saving for a horse. I don't know if it was a few quarters or a few dollars. I don't know, but for her, it was everything. And for her to come down and say, I'm going to give everything I have to support you, Dad. It was just this great awakening. And I was so proud of her. I was so ashamed of myself.
Yeah.
And the other part about going through depression, I think that's important to reference, because the most afflicted community with depression is the entrepreneurial community, because we have these highs that are so high, and we have these lows that are so deeply low. And I just invite anyone that experiences that, you're normal. That's okay, but definitely seek help. We all deserve that assistance.
Yeah, I talk to people every day, and just like you, when you get off stage and you share your story, and people come and share, and I appreciate you talking about mental health, because that's one of the pillars I stand on as well too. My daughter lost her dad to suicide 5 years ago, and before that, I had no idea how to talk about it or what it was like for those people. And so from that, making lemonade from lemons, and you've done the same thing. I loved what you said about just reach out, because there's still a lot of shame and guilt, especially around us male entrepreneurs. We tend to hold things in. I was
Yeah, you got to be strong, fight through it.
right? Boys
Yeah,
don't
and that,
cry, that kind of mentality.
and that's what happened with me when my business was dwindling. That third company, logically saw the collapse of the business. I saw my bank account going away, evaporating, but emotionally, I wasn't ready to accept it. And I definitely wasn't ready to share it. So when I told my wife and my kids, it was out of necessity because I had so much debt. I was told by my accountant to declare bankruptcy. I decided not to. Option 2 was liquidate my remaining assets where I lived, my cars, and start totally from scratch. And that's what I chose to do. I didn't think my creditors were responsible for my errors, but my family didn't know because I'd been hiding it poorly, apparently, because I was in bad shape. But I've been hiding it. And so when I revealed it, it was a shock to my wife. And to say, hey, we're losing our house and we have to be out here in 30 days, knocks the wind out of you. And I think entrepreneurs, men in particular, we need an outlet to simply share. And there's many outlets that do that, but gosh, we need to seek it out.
Yeah, no, and from all this speaking and training and coaching I've done, we started a group here in our town Walla called Men in the Middle.
Because, hey, good wine out where you are, by the way. I've been to
really. Come out. I'll take you on tour. We only have 140 of them. So
you're known for your onions, but the wine, my God, is off the hook.
Do you have a favorite winery?
I had a Pinot Noir. As the first time I had a Pinot Noir was in Walla Walla, and I was like, this is the most amazing wine. I went out there for a work project and was just, gotta try the onions, I assumed. And I had no idea it was such a wine. It's like the California of Washington, and it's redefining wine. No, I don't have a favorite vineyard yet, but definitely a favorite grape, which is the Pinot Noir.
Okay. No, that's good to know. The saying here is go to Napa for your auto parts and Walla for the wine.
That's great. That is great.
Yeah. But yeah, so back to Men in the Middle, we just found that a lot of us are going through the same struggle. And necessarily we don't want to be the first person to talk to, whether it's our wives or our kids or our coworkers. And so once a month we go to the Christian Aid Center and we cook and serve dinner to the homeless in our community.
That's
we
great.
go out and have a golf night. We've had a pub night. We went to a hockey game. But what we found is guys are sharing because we're building relationships and we're talking about our mental health. 2 guys within the group that I know of had each recently gotten or going through a divorce. Their wives had left them. And they came to me to talk to me because I was friends with both of them. And then at one of the events, they just started talking to each other and they found out that they had that common bond. And so now they're helping each other. And just like
that's wonderful.
Saying, right? When we reach out and have those conversations, obviously, I'm not a counselor or a doctor, but I have the ability to talk to people and say, hey, have you thought about talking to your doctor? Have you gone to a counselor? And just encourage people and love them.
And just letting out the thoughts, the challenges is a very therapeutic thing. It's funny, one thing I rarely share, but when I lost all my money, I was in a men's group. It just happened to be men's. Actually, it was an invite for men and women, but just my group of 7 guys was guys. And we went through this exercise. We called it getting financially naked. And some of these people were and continue to be very financially successful. And I remember going up to the board when it was my turn, and with tears in my eyes, we were talking about net worth and stuff. I put a 0 on the board, and I started pointing at it and said, I wish I was worth nothing. And that's when I told him about my debt. And it was so painful to share that. But I was embraced by the guys in just letting me say what I had to say, inviting to support me in different ways. And some guys stepped up in ways I never asked or expected, but received and was grateful for. And that was a transformative moment for me to get back in the saddle and moving forward again.
Yeah, no, that's great. And you rose from basically below 0, like you were saying. And I really appreciate it. That's what I love about this podcast is getting to meet people and hear their stories and knowing that if Mike can do it, if Greg can do it, anybody can do it, right? We're just regular guys wanting to make the world a better place. So your book, Profit First, Nathan Daniel recommended it to me and he goes, yeah, you got different bank accounts. And then I started reading it. I was like, how the hell do I need 7 bank accounts? But it works. It works, right? I call my bank up. You've already got too. Why do you need more? I'm like, don't worry about it. Just give me the extra bank accounts.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
basically, the profit first is paying yourself first, making sure the business is healthy, putting different amounts into each bucket. How did this book come about? Was it something that you learned when you
Yeah.
started over to how to read, and then you just like, I got to write this and share it? Because now
Yeah.
you're 3 TED Talks later and
It,
millions of books
it,
sold.
it came out of admittedly desperation. So when I hit that rock bottom moment, at least I appreciated I didn't understand how to manage money. Thought I did, but I had no clue. So I started to really study what are the effective methods. The pay yourself first concept was good. The envelope system, and there's these other methods. And I said, okay, this is how you manage personal finances. And I started to deploy it. But I'm like, in my business, an entrepreneur's life is so congruent with the business life, with their personal life, that should one be struggling, the other one will naturally struggle. If I'm struggling at home financially or relationally, my business is going to feel that impact. If my business is struggling, for example, financially, I'm going to feel the impact at home. So I said, oh, these principles apply to my business. So I deployed it. One of the awarenesses, and I think this is one of the most important concepts, is this system is set up at your bank and it must be there. The reason is, of the entrepreneurs I surveyed, I would say over 90%, and I've now surveyed tens of thousands of people informally through audiences, through formal traditional surveys and more. And I asked people, I said, where do you go to make financial decisions? And for most small businesses, and I'm defining this like companies that do tens of millions are still small business, but most businesses, anywhere between a brand new startup and a few million to maybe tens of millions, most business owners are logging into their bank account, looking what the balance is, and then making decisions on that. And our accountant says, don't do that. That's the worst thing. You read your income statement and your balance sheet and know your KPIs, and it just goes on and on. And so we struggle with this. I really should be great at accounting, but here's the shortcut I use. What I found is it's very difficult for any of us to change an established habit, but we can take an established habit and channel it through a new system and get the outcome we want. And if we can do that, we're likely to stick with it. So if we don't need to change, the system changes, usually we get the best results. So what I tell people is keep logging to the bank account. That is the best thing you can do. But what we need to do is set up multiple accounts at the bank. So when money flows in, we allocate it to its intended use before we spend a penny. Now, when I log in, I see what money I have available to spend in my business. I see what money is available for my future and profit. I see what I'm paying myself. And by carving up the money before you spend it, you start working within the confines of those envelopes. Just to give context, it used to be like, say, $5,000 came in, I'm like, woohoo, I can afford the new computer equipment or whatever I'm thinking of next. And that money would be gone. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I got payroll or whatever the next expense would come. And it was so hand to mouth. But once I set the system, when 5,000 came in, I saw that maybe 2,000 was available for the next investment. And that 1,000 was being saved for my future taxes, a bill I'm never prepared for. Now I am, and so forth. So you know where your money's going before you spend it.
Yeah. And it's going to be nice because this, I mean, I'm 3 years into this. I've had businesses before as well too, but this will be the first year come April 15th that I don't have to worry. I'm like, yeah, I got that money saved up. You know, it's making me a whopping percentage point every month. So I'm getting rich just off the interest for my taxes.
There you go. There you go. I mean, a little interest, but also I wonder if you have much greater confidence, perhaps the strongest confidence you ever had in your finances, because you know what the use of your funds is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
No, absolutely. Right. Good. And then I can see my profit. And speaking of profit, you said to do stuff that you enjoy, that makes you happy, because you obviously work happy. But I fly out to Phoenix in 2 hours to go golfing with my buddies for the weekend.
Oh, so a few hours from today, right now?
Yeah.
That's awesome. What's funny, Greg, is when I interview business owners, I ask them, what's the reason you start your business? I'll give you the 2 reasons that I hear from almost every business owner. I would say it's over 98% of the time.
Yeah.
Number 1 reason I start my business is to have financial freedom, meaning I don't want to worry about bills. If I see an opportunity or something that gives me joy and happiness, I want to be able to do it without the consequence of, can I afford this? The second question is, or the second goal is personal freedom. I want to be able to do what I want when I want. So control of ourselves. What's so fascinating is financial freedom and personal freedom, the 2 primary goals for business ownership, are the 2 things that are least delivered upon for most business owners. Most of the business owners are beholden to their business. They're enslaved by it. They have to work ridiculous hours and they're not making any money. Every penny goes back into the business. So the two things they dreamed of is the biggest nightmare components. And I think Profit First actually solves both, because once you start allocating profit, once you start having control of your finances, you'll see that this workaholism isn't necessary. You'll see that if you just focus on the high margin services or products, the things that you really are best at as an organization, that will fuel the business, and you don't have to work these ridiculous hours and you get the freedom to hop on a plane and play golf in a couple of hours.
Yeah, exactly. Or you can hop on a plane, come up to wall to wall for some Pinot.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah. Have you always, I'd like to ask this question. Have you always been a happy guy, or is that something that you've learned over the years now? Because even just talking to you in our emails, I could tell that you love what you do. And for me as well too, I feel like I've, since college, I worked in pro sports, I worked in software, but as always, I want the financial freedom. But just like you said, I worked my ass off, right? I was working long hours because I was in sales. And now I find that now that I'm serving and helping other people, it's a mind shift for me. And now I'm not worried about the money because I'm so excited about the impact that I get to have every day when I talk to people or when I'm on a podcast.
I feel so similarly. I think I've always been on the optimist side, but there's definitely times when I was a dark cloud. I remember my wife once saying that you're a dark cloud because that financial collapse I had. But there was a period of my time, and this was a dark period for me, is when I sold my second company, got acquired by a Fortune 500. And that was like super exciting that day. But now as an employee for the first time, doing work that I didn't like or care for. And it was so dark for a full year. And my wife is like, oh, this is killing you. And she could see it. I think today I'm happier on a sustained basis more than I've ever been. I have my moments, but on a sustained basis, I'm happier than ever. And I think it's because I really feel I'm living a purpose through my business. And so that's a joyful thing. I came to work today excited to be talking to you and sharing this stuff. I can't wait what I'm doing for the rest of the day. And the days fly by joyfully. I can't think of a single day that there isn't at least one or two reflections back on that day. Like, oh, that was a blast to do.
Yeah, no, I hear you 100%. And like you, I have my days as well too, where, and I preach it, so I have to live it, but self-care. If a day is not going right, or a phone call goes sideways, or a deal falls, or somebody's not happy with something, my two go-tos are I go golfing. We live about a 7 iron from the country club. And the other one is if I'm not having a good day, I'll take a nap and restart. Just because I know that if I sit here and I'm just like, oh, this sucks, I'm not going to get anywhere, any meaning.
You had me at bedtime. I mean, I love sleeping. It's for me, it's such a recharge. And I enjoy exercise. It's funny. I don't enjoy doing exercise. I enjoy the second I'm done with them. Oh, I feel better. So that's my outlets. And it's funny. I have one situation going on now that's frustrating for me. And I didn't sleep well last night. So this morning I woke up 5:30 a.m. Let me just go for a run. And it was almost meditative. Just feel relieved. And maybe I'll grab a nap at some point today to recharge my energy, and I'm back at it.
Yeah. No, so very helpful. I know time is running out here. I have a rapid fire question, one word answers or sentence, not a paragraph. And then I'll let you tell people where they can reach out to you, because anybody who's an entrepreneur needs this Profit First book was an absolute game changer for my business. And it's helped my marriage. It's helped even my relationship with my stepdaughter, because now I have time to go to the basketball games or go help her out, plan the school banquet, those kinds of things.
I love it.
Yeah, no, I want people to know where they can reach out to you. All right, rapid fire. Number one, what is your favorite ice cream?
Pistachio. It's amazing.
Pistachio, all right. Okay. It's funny, I ask these questions and people's face light up. It's a silly question, but I haven't met anybody who doesn't like ice cream yet.
Yeah,
what's your favorite? Who's your favorite sports team?
Hands down, the Virginia Tech Hokies. That's where I went to school. I love football, but I played lacrosse. There's my old lacrosse helmet from the old
Oh,
college
nice.
days. Yeah. So it's the Virginia Tech lacrosse team. I'm probably the one fan who's watching at 3 a.m. when it's broadcast on over YouTube Live.
Go Hokies, right?
Yeah.
That's another thing we have in common. I played hockey up through college.
Oh, where'd you play?
Just college hockey was Division II, NCAA.
Yeah, but what school? What school?
Oh, Walla College. We're called the Wolfpack.
That's freaking awesome, man. There's
Yeah.
nothing more fun, I think, than college sports, because these are people who are really committed to this sport, but most of us aren't ever going to go pro. I'm sure surely wasn't even close, but it was fun. It was competitive. And there's this camaraderie that you never forget. Like those guys I played with are my brothers, even to today.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I randomly called a buddy up that I haven't talked to in 10 years. He lives in New York now. And Dave and I caught up like it was yesterday. I remember that game and whatnot. So yeah. Final question. What is the best advice you've received? Or
yeah, one of the best piece of advice was, it's a quote. It says, "Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken." I think it's attributed to Oscar Wilde. I don't know if he said it, but I've heard it, the quote, and I've also been told it. And my God, is that the truth? So long that I try to clone others, and that's not the right thing. Be yourself.
Yeah, no, I love it. And finally, Mike, where can people reach out to you? And we'll put all your links in the show notes, but what's the best way if people want to get the book? Obviously, Amazon,
Sure.
To speak or training, all those types of great things.
Everything, yeah. I got a shortcut. So it's MikeMichalowicz.com. No one can spell. So here's the shortcut. Mike Motorbike, as in the motorcycle. Quick side note, I've never owned a motorcycle. That was my nickname from grade school. And it's the only G-rated nickname. The other ones are so profane, I can't share them. But Mike Motorbike, I can. So MikeMotorbike.com. All my books are there. You can get chapter downloads for free. I used to write for the Wall Street Journal. Those articles are there. I have my own podcast at MikeMotorbike.com.
Awesome. Thanks again, Mike. I appreciate what you've done for me. This is a great conversation. Like you said, you and I, we get to do this and help other people and make a living for our family, make the world a better place. So thank you for all you do. Appreciate it.
Greg, it's been a joy.